When I heard the sound of my mom's voice coming from the end of the hallway, I froze. I was sure she was dead. And even after 7 years, I didn't think I could be any more scared than when I found her body. For 7 years, I have heard nothing but silence. So why was I hearing my mom calling out to me from the end of the hallway right now? I hadn't heard her voice since the day of her funeral. After I got out of bed and walked into the kitchen, I thought about how strange it was that I heard my mom's voice. I wondered if I was going insane. I mean, it's not normal to hear voices. But as I continued to make myself breakfast, I pushed the thoughts of my mom's voice out of my head. I thought it was just a figment of my imagination. As I finished my food, I went back to my room and lay down in bed. I opened up my phone and scrolled through social media. I couldn't get my mind off the fact that I had heard my mom's voice earlier. I decided to bring some order to the chaos of my mind. I pulled out my laptop and opened up a video editing software. I pulled up a timeline and listed out everything I needed to edit. That helped clear my mind a bit, but I still kept hearing my mom's voice ringing in my ears. That's when I decided to go back to bed. I had heard her voice twice today, once in the hallway and once while I was eating. What were the chances? I snuggled up in my blankets and I drifted off to sleep. I didn't wake up until noon the next day. When I woke up, I immediately jumped out of bed and checked my phone. It was 12 p.m. I slept for 12 hours. While I was checking my phone, I noticed that I had gotten a few text messages from my friend Mark. One of them read, "Dude, I haven't seen you in forever. Let's catch up." Another one said, "Hey, you want to come to a party tonight?" I texted back, "Sorry, I'm busy," and went back to browsing social media. My mind was still stuck on what happened the night before. Why did I keep hearing my mom's voice? What was it trying to tell me? I wanted to figure it out. I walked over to my bookshelf and grabbed one of my mom's old journals. As I flipped through the pages, I came across an entry that made me stop. This was the day my mom died. I read aloud, "Today was a good day. Daniel came over and we cooked dinner together. He told me he loved me, and I told him I loved him too. We watched TV and ate ice cream. He stayed over and we talked until late. I'm so glad he's my son." I felt a lump in my throat. My mom sounded so happy. I remember that day so clearly because it was the last day I saw my mom alive. After reading that journal entry, I felt even more determined to find out what was going on. I had to know if my mom was trying to tell me something. I went back to my room and opened up my closet. I pulled out my laptop and sat down on my bed. I typed in "ghost voice recorder" into Google and clicked on the first link. An hour later, a package arrived on my doorstep. It was the ghost voice recorder. I quickly opened up the package and plugged the device into my laptop. I started the recording software and waited. The next day, I went back to my mom's grave. It was a beautiful day out and many people were at the park. I sat down next to my mom's grave and waited. For a while, nothing happened. I was starting to feel disappointed when suddenly I heard it. My mom's voice. It was soft and I could barely hear it. But I knew it was her. I quickly pressed record and listened. "Help me," she whispered. "Find me," I gasped. That's when I knew I had to do something. I couldn't let my mom's spirit wander aimlessly. I had to find out what happened to her. I went back home and started researching my mom's case. I had already gone through all the evidence when the police had investigated her death, but I went through it again just in case. I was hoping I would find something new. After going through all the evidence again, I didn't find anything new, but I did find something interesting. My mom had been reported missing 2 weeks before her death. The police had investigated it, but they had never found anything. I realized that the police had made a mistake. They had buried the wrong person. I had to find out who was in my mom's grave. I went back to my mom's grave and started digging. I was careful not to damage the headstone, but I managed to dig up the box that contained the body. I opened up the box and found a woman's body inside. It was mummified, but I could tell it wasn't my mom. I called the police and told them what I had found. They came and took the body away, and they also dug up the grave where the other woman was buried. It turned out that she was a nurse who had died in a car accident. But there was still one thing that didn't make sense. If the police had buried the wrong person, then where was my mom? I decided to go to the cemetery and ask the groundskeeper. I asked him if he remembered burying my mom. "Of course I do," he said. "It was a very sad day. You were there too," I nodded. "Yes, I was." He looked at me strangely. "You look just like her." I was taken aback by his words. "What do you mean?" I asked. He shrugged. "It's just that you both have the same hair and eyes." I didn't want to waste any more time. "Can you show me where you buried my mom?" I asked. He led me to a grave and said, "This is where I buried Mrs. Davis. Is that not where you think she's buried?" I shook my head. "No, I don't think so," I said. I stared at the grave in front of me. It was the same headstone that marked my mom's grave. I reached out and touched it. It was cold. I was so confused. Where was my mom's grave? And why did the groundskeeper lead me to the wrong grave? As I stood there thinking, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned around and saw the most horrifying sight. It was my mom. She looked the same way she did in the picture. On the headstone, her eyes were wide, and she had a big smile on her face. But that wasn't the scariest part. The scariest part was that she wasn't alone. Behind her, I could see a tall, thin man with sharp teeth and claws. He was grinning at me and licking his lips. I screamed and ran away. I ran and ran, but I could hear my mom's voice echoing behind me. "Come on, Daniel," she said. "Don't be scared. He won't hurt you." I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to see my mom again. I didn't want to see the man behind her. I ran until I collapsed on the ground. I was exhausted and scared. I was scared of my mom. I was scared of the man behind her. I was scared of the grave. And most of all, I was scared of what was going to happen next. I hope you liked the story. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.